once again, we gather in search of the truth, dark, and mystery. It's the Drunk Turkey Show.
Big development today in the investigation into the murders of 4 University of Idaho students. According to state and local officials and court documents, 28-year-old Brian Christopher Koberger has been arrested. He was arrested and arraigned this morning in Pennsylvania.
We have new details on what Brian Koberger was doing right before his arrest. Police says a tactical team burst in to arrest the Idaho murder suspect. He was in pajamas and latex gloves, stuffing trash into Ziploc bags.
Hey, greetings from the year 3000. It still sucks. This is Phil J. Fry, and you're listening to the Drunken Turkey Show. Your one stop for this sort of thing. Hit that button, like and subscribe. You know what to do, just like every other podcast.
You guys know what to do, just like every other podcast. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the DT Show. I'm Daniel, and today we're going to be talking about the Camila Olmos disappearance. A young lady, 19 years old, went missing in the early morning hours of Christmas Eve under suspicious circumstances. There's a clear alert that has gone out from Bexar County. This is where I am from. I'm from Bexar County myself, not too far away from where she disappeared from. In fact, I went out there a little bit earlier today. I took some footage, of the street and of the immediate area. We took note of how many cameras were in the area and things of that nature. And so, very, very sad case. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button, and also share this, guys, if you would, on all the Facebook posts and Facebook groups. Let's get the word out there. This is a very, very sad situation, mysterious, unknown circumstances, and we got some updates through Facebook and things of that nature, and also from a few local news anchors and news reporters who are posting updates. And so I'll be going through what those are today and what they mean, and we'll go forward from there. So here's the clear alert. Let me make this bigger. This is the clear alert, and this is issued by the Texas Department of Public Safety, referencing Camila Olmos, 19 years old, Hispanic, brown eyes, brown hair, weighing about 110 pounds, 5'4" female. Last seen wearing a black North Face sweater with baby blue accents, baby blue shorts, and white shoes. Now, what she's wearing has been a little bit of a question mark. I've heard a lot of different things as far as everything from blue pajama pants to blue shorts to black leggings. The image that is out there, it is kind of hard to see. We're going to look at some images from the camera that's next door here in a little bit as well, and we'll look at the image as well. Again, it's difficult. It's just a shadow. It is unknown if that is her, but it is believed to be Miss Olmos in that image. Okay, and so what is a clear, for those that don't know what a clear alert is? What that is it stands for Coordinated Law Enforcement Adult Rescue. It's a statewide system to find missing adults 18 to 64 in immediate danger, filling the gap between amber alerts children and silver alerts seniors, with help in locating kidnapped, abducted, or facing imminent harm or death, using public awareness to get information to law enforcement fast. So for them to issue out the clear report, I think that there's the thought that something against maybe perhaps Miss Olmos's will may have taken place. And going out there, I kind of leaning towards that. This isn't a rural area. It's a subdivision. It's not like she walked off and got lost, those type of things. Even if she got lost throughout the neighborhood, it's different than being lost in a rural with dense forest or things of that nature. So I believe, given the amount of searches within a certain, I think there's been like 4 mile radius is what they've been looking at. And I've seen the searchers and the searchers in certain areas around uh, town and through the neighborhood. They did go pretty far out there. And I just feel like they would have found her if it was something that she went out on a walk on her own and then something happened. She fell down or she got hurt. I just, those things are quickly, in my opinion, being ruled out. But we got some information from Ryan Wolf. Ryan Wolf is he's a news personality, Emmy award winning news anchor at Fox San Antonio in Texas. And he stated, update, multiple agencies now assisting, including the FBI. It only takes 2 seconds to share. Family and friends and strangers continue to come together, combing over missing teens' last known location, knocking on doors, searching on foot, and joining each other in prayer. Massive search efforts has focused in the 19-year-old Camila Mendoza Olmos in San Antonio. Search efforts have now expanded. The Bexar County Sheriff's Office is now being assisted to multiple law enforcement agencies, including the FBI. As the search intensifies for Camila, who has been seen just before 7 a.m. on Christmas Eve in the 1100 block of Caspian Spring and San Antonio's northwest side. Surveillance video shows Camila near her vehicle, then leaving on foot. Her car was left behind. The only items believed to be with her are her car keys and possibly her ID. Deputy investigators, drones, search and rescue teams have cadaver dogs have been deployed. The Youth Peace and Justice Foundation has also joined the effort and is offering a $1,000 reward for information leading to Camila's safe return. Camila is described as 5'4", about 110 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes, and her family says she is smart and loving, recently baptized, and deeply loved. They're holding on to faith, asking for prayers, pleading for help, and begging for the public to keep her sharing her photo. If you have any information at all, contact the Bexar County Sheriff's Office at 210-335-6000 or email missingpersons@bear.org. Bear is spelled BEXAR. For those that are listening on the audio side only, that don't see and aren't familiar with the spelling of the county, residents in the area are urged to check and submit any doorbell or security cam footage. Please continue to pray. Please continue to share, and 100% do that. Now, myself and Steelers fan, we went out there and to look at the area. In fact, let me pull it up real quick. Let's pull that up. But before we go into that, he mentions that the FBI is now involved, and they're going to be looking at what are some of the things that the FBI have at their disposal that are going to help them figure out the scenario. So they're going to be able to get warrants and subpoenas to a bunch of these video cam places. Like, for instance, it appeared when I passed by Camila's house that she herself, her home had a Ring camera doorbell, or said that all backwards when dyslexia kicked in, a Ring doorbell camera. And in my opinion, it's going to show a little bit more. Now, why isn't that video being circulated? It's most likely is that like several people have the camera, but don't pay for the subscription. And if you're not paying for the subscription, you're not going to be able to see alerts and things that happened earlier throughout the day. And so I think that's why they're utilizing the neighbor's camera. Now, the FBI is going to be able to come in, get a subpoena and a warrant, and send that out to Ring or the other companies that may be involved. And hopefully, I don't know the process, especially if it's not like I'm sure if it's Ring, they have their process to go through that and get that footage. But, there are some companies that I couldn't tell from where I was at if it was a Ring doorbell, if it was a different type. And if it was a different type, I don't know how difficult those things can get. But what I do know is that they didn't release that footage. And I would have assumed had they had that footage, they would have known that the person that was searching Camila's car was Camila, instead of saying believed to be her. They would have known it to have been her. They would have seen her walk out of the house. A much closer image and walk to the vehicle. And so the FBI is involved in that. What else are they going to be able to do? They're going to be able to geofence the area and see who was in that area. Now, this is unlike, for instance, the Jack and Lily case that we're covering out in Nova Scotia, or even the Brian Koberger case, where he committed his murders out in Moscow, Idaho, which were more rural area. This is in San Antonio, Texas. There are towers everywhere. And so the advanced timing records here in this area is going to be significantly more accurate than it would be if you were trying to find or geolocate or specific phones. And so what that means is they're probably going to be able to tell within a fair certain amount of accuracy, which phones were near her home, that morning and that evening, along with the cameras. Now, again, we counted 20 cameras within a block radius. I mean, within a block going, leading up to the house. And then it's like on a turn. And then it's like, so we just took like 2 blocks, that 2-block intersection. And within that 2 blocks where you can only go left or right from her house, there's the only 2 directions you can go. There were, I counted 9 on my side, and Steelers fan counted 11 on her side, cameras. And so heavily cameraed area. I assume that they're going to be able to get some of that footage. And why that is important, a few reasons. One is if you have a situation where you don't see anything or you don't see her walking, that means that something happened before she would have gotten to that house. And also they can kind of go back earlier in the night and see if any car pulled into that area and pulled away at a different time of the night or later on that morning. So there's going to be a lot of things that they're going to be able to tell. But let's pull up the what do I want to pull up first? Let's pull up the camera that I walked. Let's see. Give me 1 second. Let everything load. Okay, here it is. And so here to the right, you'll see the white car and the black truck. That is Camila's car. That's the house. The house to the left is the one that actually captured the footage. And what I wanted to capture more than anything else is I wanted to capture the road. I wanted to see if there was something in the road that indicated somebody taking off at a high rate of speed. Tire markings that would indicate somebody accelerating. And I didn't see that. I didn't see that. Kind of moving a little fast, but. And, with all the leaves and stuff, that kind of is an indication that I think it's been cleaned up a little bit since, the disappearance, but not too much. There would be some evidence there if need be to find. I didn't want to capture too many people's houses and stuff, for privacy concerns. But that's her car, and as you can see, you can't see the doorbell camera because there's a plant right here, but that Ring camera is going to capture if she, what she did at the vehicle and then where she go. Now, a couple things that we know. We know that her phone was powered off. We also know that her mom had mentioned that she charged it. She put it on the charger. So that kind of tells me that the reason it was off may have been because of a battery situation. Now, could it have been that she powered it off and it just so happened when she powered it off, the battery was low? Yeah, 100%. That's possible. I think some folks might be speculating that there's a possibility that she may have turned the phone off because, maybe she was having a disagreement with somebody or something of that nature. I'll say this. If that's on the phone, because that phone was left behind, law enforcement now I'm assuming, I don't know for a fact, but I'm fairly positive they have her phone. Those messages and stuff, that was left in the house. So it's not like if somebody did take her and it was somebody that she knew. I don't think that they're going to be able to get to her phone and delete any of these messages or anything like that of what I'm trying to say is, I guess, I feel like there's going to be some evidence on there. If that was the case, if the reason she turned off her phone was because of, an argument with somebody per se, right? And she didn't want to deal with the person, so she turned her phone off. You can put your phone on do not disturb. There's a lot of other things. I don't know if that's the move. The fact that she was looking for an item, left her phone inside, and her mom had to charge her phone, those dots kind of connect to that she went to go look for a phone charger in her car that she may have left. Now I know I saw it in the comment section that somebody said, "Well, why would she need to go find her phone charger if there was one in the house?" Her mom charged her phone, so there must have been one in the house. True, but she may have been using the mom's charger. The mom may have been using her own charger to charge the daughter's phone. So in the morning, it may not have been accessible to her. And so, just kind of assumptions there, speculation. Did she go out to go get a phone charger for her phone? Now, to me, what screams out that this is not just her going, okay, going on a walk afterwards is she didn't get, she didn't charge her phone. So let's just say she was like, all right, my phone's dead. I'm going to go for a walk anyways. If she went out to go look for a phone charger, I would assume that she would have probably, continued to look for the phone charger and then put her phone on the charger and then go for a walk. At least do something like that. That just, her going out to the car, because she's going to have that issue when she gets back. Let's just say she's like, all right, I'm going to go for a walk. She's going to get back. She's still going to have to find a phone charger. She's going to have to charge and everything else. So it doesn't make sense to me that she's going into her car. And that's if she's going into her car for her phone charger. She could be something completely different, but just kind of speculating here, based off the information that is there. Now, this was Christmas Eve. This area isn't like a high trafficy area. Like, it's connected to a street that is, that kind of is, but that street is usually high traffic during more trafficy time. I hate to say it that way, but so there are two main streets. You have Braun and you have Shanefield, and the street that this residence off Caspian Spring runs off of a street that is highly traveled for drivers that are trying to get between Braun and Shanefield and not have to deal with some it's another road called 1560 without having to deal with the main traffic from those roads. So it's kind of like a little bit of a shortcut, so to speak, but it's well known. So a lot of cars cut through there, but that's only when there's a lot of traffic. Christmas Eve at 7:00 in the morning, that's not a lot of traffic. So I don't feel like this area would have been heavily populated with a lot of traffic at that time. Her not having her phone on and then disappearing afterwards, kind of, and this is just speculation on my part, but kind of says something, right? Like, was somebody upset that they couldn't get a hold of her? Thinking something else is happening, maybe something more nefarious, maybe not nefarious, but something like out of jealousy. Like, is there a reason why she doesn't have her phone? And they go out there and they're parked outside of their house waiting for a while for her to come out or for her to show up home if they think that she's not at home. I don't know. And that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the ex-boyfriend. If that's the case, there could be just, a lot of different things, but her not having her phone and then disappearing. I mean, her phone on and then disappearing shortly after is something to keep a note of at the very least, is what I'm trying to say. Well, in that scenario, though, I would expect if somebody did abduct her from outside of her house, that there would be evidence of somebody leaving the scene at a very high rate of speed. And I don't see that. And so just kind of keeping everything open. Could it have been somebody that she knew? And that's why they didn't, leave at a high rate of speed, but it turned like, I don't know, she hasn't shown up home yet. Right. So there's some, they don't sound good, especially going through Christmas, not having a phone call or anything else. So it's weird. I didn't notice that. That's probably just oil. I didn't notice that when I was walking out there. I don't know what that is. Tony says, I think she was meeting someone. It's possible, but it depends on how long her phone had been off, right? If her phone been off for some time, like if it died throughout the middle of the night, and I mean, it didn't turn back on. So she would have to, how would she let somebody know that she's going to be there or be late or on her way or anything like that? But still possible that maybe it was planned beforehand. This is weird. I don't remember seeing that when I was out there, but I was kind of looking this direction to see if there was any. But that looks more like, that could be transmission fluid. How prevalent is illegal immigration there? I guess quite a bit. We were pretty close to the border. I think we're like 3 hours from the border. But yeah, I was trying to see if there was any indication of somebody trying to leave at a high rate of speed. I didn't see that. One second. And I'm pretty sure law enforcement and it's frozen. Law enforcement and anybody that's been out there's probably noticed that spot. Now let me pull up something else real quick. This is the footage from the doorbell camera throughout the day there. Now, I know it says 10:04 a.m., but it is that's when this was recorded. Now, a couple of things that I noticed. So this is the neighbor's camera. So what can we deduce from the neighbor's camera when Camila comes out of the house? Her motion from her home to the side of her car sets off the camera. And so that means that she didn't come back this direction. So if she disappeared or she wandered off or she walked away, she most likely went that direction. Now, I don't know what time or date this is, but there's a vehicle parked right here. Um, and so I'm assuming this vehicle is what set off this camera to go off. And so this kind of tells you the radius. We would assume then that she either walked off this way or was led off this way or attracted this direction. And whoever, if somebody did something or took her, abducted her, was past this area and went that direction out. Look at that. You see this car? It's facing this direction. And then when it comes back on the screen, it's facing the other direction. Is somebody passing by over and over again? And see that was her. That's her right there. That's her right here. The car's lights are on. So she has the keys to the vehicle. Why is the car lights on? It's a Volvo. Volvos are one of the higher tech vehicles, and so like even with like my vehicle, when you walk up to it, all you got to do is walk up to it with the key in your pocket, and it lights up like a Christmas tree. You ain't got to press any buttons or anything. So it's a safety thing. So I'm assuming just by her walking up to the vehicle with the key in her hand, that's why. But this is interesting to me. This car here looks like it's the same car going. I mean, and again, it doesn't have to be anything nefarious. It don't have to be anything nefarious at all. But it's going this direction, slow enough that it's captured on the motion detector. Because it's, when Camila is caught, she's over here, at the car. It's not like it caught her here and then there. It's just one time she's here. And she's walking. So this vehicle is going slow enough that it set off the flash and the camera was able to capture it. It's actually staying there because look, there's a car there. Now, again, and this could be, people that live here. You know what I'm saying? They may not have anything to do with anything, but the car is there in two different times. It's here without the vehicle there. So you see it here on the right side. You don't see any lights on the left. Now you see the lights here on the left. So this is two different times. And then again, and it's facing the other way. Now you can see the headlights. And the headlights, you can see the beam here on the roadway. So this is definitely headlights facing the opposite direction. It looks like the same vehicle, but hard to tell, right? I mean, it's just a shadow. I mean, it's very dark, so it's very hard to tell. Could be hers in the driveway. This truck right here, that is hers in the driveway. Let me see. And then it's gone. And then something sets it off here, but you can't see it. So whatever set it off moving quickly. And I also think that some of these lights turning on were also motion cameras. I know that there's a motion camera like this one that's hanging over the garage here, about 2 or 3 houses down from here. Okay, so this is running it back around. I just wish I knew how long or time frame on some of these things. Yes, let's hit the like button. I'd appreciate it, guys. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring the notification bell, share the content, please. I'd appreciate that. So again, the car may mean nothing, you know. I just find a couple of things weird. It just seems weird that she's going through her car looking for an item, leaves her phone behind, doesn't charge it, doesn't turn it on, leaves it off on the bed, where she was laying down. So it's not like she got up, took it with her looking for a charger or anything like that. She left it on the bed. Yeah, so kind of tells me that she woke up, tried to turn it on, realized it was dead, left it there, got up, may have gotten dressed. I think that the confusion with what she was wearing may have been she may have intended on going for a walk at some point, you know, um, or maybe perhaps, she had her ID with her. That's a weird one too, right? Having your ID to go for a walk. And so, I don't know. I don't know if I know that the walk thing comes from habit. She used to go on walks in the morning. Certain mornings she would. I don't know if it was every morning. I don't know if it was a constant thing, but she would go for walks in the morning. Her mom thought that's what she was doing. Her mom assuming that's what she was doing, it does not mean that was what she was going to do at all. Her having her ID on her, maybe she was going to go pick up something. But went to go find her phone charger or something. But pure speculation on my end, right there. Why did the footage stop? So my assumption is that she got too far for the camera to pick up her movement. It is the neighbor's camera. It's not her footage. Now, if it was her footage, from her house, then I guess I know there's some folks that are thinking that maybe there's some something to that. I would say then, there's more of a chance of that if it was her footage that was cut off, but it was the neighbor's house. So I don't know about it. But interesting stuff, man. That black car that's parked there across the street, facing one way and then facing another. Again, could be nothing. Could absolutely be nothing. Could be more. Now, here's an article that was shared actually by Camila's mom on Facebook, and it is from Univision, and it's in Spanish. Fortunately for you guys, I translated it, and so I'm going to read the translated part. It goes on to say, the San Antonio, Texas, the search for Camila Mendoza Olmos, a 19-year-old woman who disappeared in San Antonio, Texas, is extended to the state of Nuevo León, Mexico, after state authorities issued a missing persons report to try to locate her in Mexican territory. It's interesting. I don't know. I know that. Well, let's continue. According to the information released by the Attorney General's Office of Nuevo León, Camila was last seen on the morning of December 24th when she left her home in Bexar County on Christmas Eve. Camila Mendoza, almost 19, was last seen December 24th in Bexar County, San Antonio, Texas. So authorities in Nuevo León issued a missing persons alert to assist in locating her. In the video, she is seen searching for something inside a vehicle and then closes the door and disappears from the scene. Her whereabouts remain unknown. Family members informed the police that Camila was only carrying her car keys and driver's license, but not her cell phone, a detail that has caused greater concern for authorities and her loved one. What if while she was going through her car, she found her ID? Maybe she left her ID in her car, right? And she found it, and that's why she put it on her person, and that's why it's missing. I'm assuming they think that she has it because they can't find it, right? And maybe she had it in the car, and while she's looking for her phone charger, she finds the ID, and that's why the phone ID, and that's why the ID is on her person. It may not have it may not have actually been anything. You know what I mean? That her ID is missing. But it's interesting that they are doing a search, or they're reaching out to Nuevo Leon to let the so that they can be on the lookout for her. I think that might be where she may have family or something. At the time of her disappearance, Camila was wearing a black hooded sweatshirt, black leggings, and white sneakers. See, it's changed now. And again, I think it's because the footage is so grainy. But according to her mother, she usually wore when she went for walks in the morning. So that's the other indication why they think she may have gone for a walk, is because of what she was wearing. This, according to her family, reinforces the hypothesis that she did not plan to be away for an extended period. Yeah, I don't think she was. Her vehicle was found outside of her home. It is presumed that she left on foot. By a national search for Camila Mendoza Olmos. Since the first days of her disappearance, family members, friends, and volunteers have participated in the search operations in San Antonio, using tracking dogs and organized searches with a radius of several miles around the area where she was last seen. With the issuance of the missing persons report in Nuevo Leon, authorities are seeking to expand the search efforts given the possibility that young woman could be in Mexico. How to help? So, I mean, it's interesting that they've extended that she could be in Mexico. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Understand that move at this point, unless they know something more. And it's weird. It's concerning. Why was her mother sleeping with her? I don't know. That's a good question. Sir Winston Elvis. I assume that's for the dog's name. Awesome name, by the way, for the pup. Why was her mother? It was Christmas, so I'm assuming maybe they had a lot of family over, and maybe they had family coming, staying at the house, and so she could have been just a logistic thing because family was over. Maybe somebody was sleeping in her room, or a family was in her room, so she bunked up with her mom. She could have had a situation and, wanted to be in, didn't want to be alone and wanted her mom with her. I think if it was something like that, I think obviously the mom would be more aware of it. And I think that would be a pretty big indication of something. But I don't know. That's a good question. Goes on to say that Camila Mendoza almost is a Mexican national. Maybe that's why they're extending the search out to Nuevo Leon, is because she's a Mexican national. I think that may be where she's from. 1.63 meters tall, with a slender build, fair complexion, wavy, light brown hair, and light brown eyes. She has no distinguishing marks or known medical conditions. Any information that may help locate her, please report to the Nuevo Leon Local Commission for the Search of Missing Persons. And they have their phone number, 8120204411, or through the appropriate authorities. You might be interested. Camila Mendoza almost was last seen December 24th in Northwest Bexar County when she went to go check on her car. Family and friends and volunteers formed a group, more than 100 people searching for the young woman. Please return her to us. Family will organize a search for missing young women, Camila Mendoza Olmos. Okay. Great questions. Christy asked, do you know how many people were at the home? I do not know how many people were at the home when she went missing. Does she have a dad? She does have a father that lives in the home, or siblings. Don't know the answer to those questions. I know that the father has spoken. Great questions. Let's so that was from here, and this is the report for search out there in Mexico for her as well. Now let's listen to what this is the possible ex-boyfriend. I say that because he has, when asked, if he was a boyfriend, he said he was. Now, I know a lot of people are jumping on that saying he's using that in past tense. She's, when Camila's mom talks to reporters, she mentions she calls her boyfriend. And then, the boyfriend says was there a recent breakup? I saw a photo of her and him on her Facebook, but it was over a year ago. So there wasn't anything recent of them together, but they were friends on Facebook. But let's listen to what he has to say.
All right, what's your name? Just look over at me.
My name is Nathan Gonzalez.
What's your first and last name?
Nathangonzales.
Why are you out here?
I'm out here because we're searching for Camila Mendoza. She's been missing for 4 days now, and we're just starting to get worried about her. We're just trying to be here for her family, be there for her friends and everybody, and we're just so grateful for the turnout. We just want to keep on getting the public support and trying to get people involved and know about it so that we can bring her home soon.
Forgive me, you have a personal connection?
Yes, I was her boyfriend.
Okay.
So that's the past tense. This was, yes, I was her boyfriend. She went out to college. They're young. They may have broken up. That doesn't necessarily mean that he is, a suspect or anything. I don't think so. He doesn't give off that vibe. Now that doesn't mean anything. The evidence will show what it is. I know he's spoken to detectives. He talks about that in this interview. It sounds like he's been super cooperative with everything and everyone. If he did something nefarious or suspicious, there's going to be evidence of that. And a lack of evidence is also evidence as well. And so, like, for instance, as I mentioned, her having her phone off, could that have, set somebody off? Could that have, made somebody think something, make somebody jealous? Could that have been him? Could that have been a new fling that she just met? Somebody new that she didn't know very well. Could it have been somebody that, she didn't know like that, but they thought, that they became infatuated? There's a lot of possibilities here, right? But it's to me, if it's somebody who knew her location, or at least knew her parents' house, was concerned because her phone was off and went out there, it's got to be somebody a little bit close to her. You know what I mean? If there was an abduction and if there was something that occurred, just shortly after she was seen outside, right? There's a lot of ifs here. So we're not talking facts. We're not talking 100%. This is just speculation at this point. And so if there was, a scenario where she either entered a vehicle willing or unwillingly shortly after she was outside at her vehicle nearby, and the reason why that person was out there was because they were aware that her phone was off, there's going to be some evidence there. And, if it was this guy, his car, when they start getting the footage from all the cameras that are in the area, they're going to see his car coming in. They're going to see, if he took his phone with him, and if he left his phone at home, and, during that odd time, which he probably could say I was asleep, but during that odd time, if his phone's not moving, period, and they can't tell that. And then there's also, being able to pull cameras around his house. So, are they going to see him leaving the area? So it's more than him just getting to the area. It's also him leaving the area. So I would strongly suspect that if he had anything to do with their disappearance, he would be caught fairly quickly. And so I don't think he does at this point. I don't think there's evidence. Now, him saying is a little weird. It's weird, but could it be because they weren't together? Again, I went through her Facebook, and the picture I found, I think, was in May of 2024 of them together. So it was a while. It was a while.
And what kind of person is she?
She's a very loving person. She's the person that always puts others before herself, and she loves everybody no matter what. And this is just not like her because, like I said, she's just a loving person. And we would have never thought that something like this would happen.
Also, I mean, there's like no sign of defense wounds around his neck or anything like that to say that he did anything nefarious. Yeah. And he just kind of seems very concerned. Like I said, I don't think this kid did anything to her. He's been out searching, looking for her. I don't believe that he did. At this point, obviously, I have a saying. The stance changes once the circumstances do. The stance is what it is. The circumstance change, so is the stance. But right now, I don't think he did anything. I don't think any of the family members that were in that house or anything like that have done anything nefarious to cause her disappearance. I don't rule out the possibility of somebody else, but to me, it's kind of twofold, right? Because I say that, and I also have to say that if something nefarious happened to her, most likely, could somebody have just been driving around, that morning and found her and came across her in that area? I guess, but I think that the possibility of that is super low, like super low. Now, could she have gone for a walk and then ran into the wrong person somewhere? I think it's possible, but there have been some folks in the area whose cameras they've been able to go back and review, and nobody's seen anything. Nobody's seen her walking by. And that's that's something too. Lack of evidence is evidence. So where did she go? How did she leave the area if she didn't walk by there?
What is her family going through? Just give me an idea, more or less.
Say that again?
What is her family going through right now? What are they feeling?
They're going through a nightmare. And so that's why we're all out here to support her family and be there for them, because not only do they need us right now, they need the Lord Jesus to be with her and protect Cami, because we know with the Lord that she's going to come back home.
How long will you be out there?
I'll be out here all day. And we've been out here for 3 days, going on 4 days straight. And we're not going to stop until we find her.
Did you talk to the sheriff's department? Check with the sheriff's department, correct?
Yes, I have not.
You have not? Okay. And what have they told you? Have they told you anything? Have you heard anything?
So I talked to a couple detectives here at her house. I have not talked to them directly there, but they've just asking me how I know her, places where I think she could be, possibilities of who she could be with, and obviously asking for my connection to Cami. And so, like I said, I was willing to give any information that I can to help bring her home, because at the end of the day, that's what I want, is to bring her home to her family.
All right, anything else you want us to know?
Just to keep praying for her family and just to keep asking for the public's help for this.
Yeah. He brought up religion and stuff, and needing the Lord to bring her home, and that she needs God and God's protection. I know some folks might look at that, because I've seen it where people say, bringing up religion might be something. I don't know. I don't know who this guy is. So he may be deeply religious and be expressing himself in that manner. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I do know that there's going to be some folks that are going to look at that and say something about a person bringing up religion during a time of, like, with some of the things that he said might look weird, but I don't know. I don't think so. All right, let's go here. And this is with one of the searchers. Someone saying, I don't believe him yet. I don't want to say like I'm like 100% believe that he had nothing to do with anything. I don't believe there's something there yet to accuse him. There you go. That's a good way of putting it. I don't think that there's, like, I personally am kind of on the same boat where I'm like, I mean, I don't know the kid. I don't know what, if he is an ex, if they were having problems, if he's jealous or any of those things. No idea. And so But I don't think there's enough there to accuse him at this point also of anything. But I do understand why some folks might want to take a couple notes about it, but I get it. I don't think there's anything there to accuse him of something at this point. Like I said, circumstance changes, so does the stance. We'll see. If he did like I said, if he did have something to do with her disappearance, it would be very easy for law enforcement to figure that out. He has to. This is San Antonio, Texas, and getting there's cameras everywhere. There's cameras everywhere in that neighborhood, traffic cameras everywhere. You can't get into that neighborhood without passing certain cameras in that neighborhood. So, he has to also leave his neighborhood, wherever that may be. And, and there's the phone activity. There's a lot of things that are going on, that would make it very, very easy for law enforcement to figure it out. So we'll see. This is a searcher that was there, and he had some interesting things to say. So let's listen to what he says.
Your name?
Frank Trevino,
Spell your first and last name.
FRANK TREVINO.
You have a title? You're just helping out with?
I'm a volunteer helping find missing people.
What's going on?
Well, today, as we did yesterday, we gathered volunteers who are willing to search for Camila. She is 19 years old, left home early Christmas Eve, and hasn't been seen since. We have no record of whether she left with someone or someone picked her up. We don't have any information regarding that. So all we can do is assume she is near in the area. So that's where we're gathering and having people search the entire area.
This is no easy endeavor, is it?
It is not. However, there are a lot of volunteers that have stepped up, a lot of experienced volunteers with many, many years of searching for missing people. I know many of them, and so they all have stepped up, and they're here.
What is the hope?
We're hoping that the big hope is that she walks home from somewhere. Somebody spots her walking on the sidewalk. That is the big hope, and her family gets to hug her. So far, we have very, very little information on where she is, or who she's with, or how this turned out.
How does one go about doing this with such little information?
Well, you have to look at other cases, and you can go back for many, many years. It's happened for centuries. People go missing, and every time a case comes up, you look at the case and you learn from it. And so you have to apply those things and consider, what if this is a case that happened 8 years ago, or 6 years ago, or 4 years ago? So your experience teaches you what things to look for and what to exclude pretty quick. Nope.
I'm not sure what he was talking about there at the end about looking at cases 6 years ago, but little to go on. They don't know if she was picked up or if she got into a vehicle, so they assume that they were, possibly living close, or not living close, but possibly could be close, and that's why they're doing the search around. Good information there. Dan, is there a store? There is actually a store, walking distance. I mean, yeah, it's not like super far. Yeah, let me see if I'm gonna pull up a couple of things. I'm gonna see if I can pull up the. I had a I want to pull up the interview with her father, who talks. I'm not sure where it's at. I'd have to go back and find it. I know somebody was asking for that. I was going to see if I could find that, but I don't have that on me. Let me look up the Google Earth real quick. Good old Google Maps. Let's do some maps. We'll look at the area, and and whatnot. And bear with me. Okay. Here's Camila's home. In order to go to the gas station, the closest one is off of 1560. Well, I mean, I don't know if there's one back here near these elementary schools, but here's the gas station right here. This is the gas station on 1560 and Shanefield. So let's see how far that is. Okay, so it's just straight down here. Turn. Let me change this to miles. So I'm gonna run by the. Like I said, it's not super far. Went a little bit far. About a mile and a quarter. So it's not too far away. Yeah, that's the nearest gas station. There's a lot of construction going on right here on this side of the road. I come to this gas station a lot. That's my gas station. Like I said, I'm. This is very close to me. I don't live in this subdivision, but it's very close to me. Now, behind her house, so right here to the side, there is this opening that gets you into this like field area. However, if she walked across this direction, I feel like she would have gotten captured more on the camera here from the neighbor's house. Okay. Oh, look, there's that red mark right there. So that red mark, well, maybe not. Never mind. It's right there also. It's not there. Oh. This was from March of 2025. So about a few months back. So that red stain that we saw on the drive in the roadway, and I'll pull it back up here in a minute, is more recent than March of 2025. This house to the left has a motion camera. So this house here to the left, I'm not going to show the house, but I saw the car there. This house to the left has a motion camera. So if she walked this direction, unless she crossed the street, she would have been captured. But on this side of the street, I counted, I think there was like 11 cameras on this side of the street leading up to this house. And again, so this is her residence here. So like the residence being here, I don't know if you can see the door camera, the doorbell. It's right here. You can barely see it, the doorbell. Well, anyways, you can only go that direction or this direction up here. And over here, there's another motion camera. So anybody coming in this direction would be captured. So had she walked away, she in both directions is covered. Both directions are covered. Now, once she gets to the, oh man, give me a second. here. I mean, you just along the roadway. Put a couple stars, guys. I'll be answering some of your questions. Put a couple stars in there. UFO Taker says, I think a neighbor has her. I mean, you can't rule that out, right? You know, I was talking to my buddy of mine who's also familiar with the area, and he had the same thought process that maybe perhaps a neighbor may have her. I don't know. You know, I guess it's possible. Yeah, but it could be. But yeah, put a couple of questions. Yeah. Let's see. And she did have plans, so I wanted to bring this up real quick. Once this stuff, stupid ads. There it goes. So they had her friend Camila Estrella mentioned that the two were talking on the phone on Tuesday and had made plans to go dress shopping for Estrella's boyfriend's family event. She said, bye, Cammy, I love you, and recalled Estrella, who said that was kind of not the norm, but, you know, told her that the day before. Cameras would have picked up a car or a commotion too. I agree, Mitch, 100%. That's why I think that this one's, you know, now the FBI is involved. I think that there's a good chance they're gonna be able to pinpoint the vehicles that were there. Let's see. I'm gonna pull up the video one more time that I played earlier that I took. A lot of teen girls have an ID zipper pouch on their keychain and keeps their ID debit card in it. That's Tris, genius. Probably why she got her ID or where she got her ID from. You're probably right. And so this is me walking the area. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to kind of get an idea if there was anybody in the, you know, that took off like from the street. And I didn't notice this mark here. Let me make this bigger. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's in the left side of the screen. I assume law enforcement and folks have seen that and be able to figure out what that is. That's weird. I didn't notice it because I was looking this way. I was looking for tire marks for a vehicle that took off at a high rate of speed, and I freaking missed this right here inside to the side there. No idea what it is. Could be transmission fluid. Could be nothing. It's just like oddly behind her vehicle. How far was she from the home when she was spotted on camera? At her home. She was, I think, looking through her vehicle was the last time she was spotted on camera. From what I understand, there's not a camera that has captured her walking away from the home. So they don't know if she got into a vehicle. But from what I understand is there's nothing that caught her. Doesn't mean she didn't walk away and the ring and the footage just didn't, or that you know, they're still waiting on maybe perhaps getting footage from the companies themselves, especially if you have folks who do not opt in for the subscription. You know, if you don't opt in for the subscription, you're not going to get it. You know what I mean? You're going to have to wait until law enforcement goes out and recuperates that information. Yeah, the reddish brown stain. That's what I'm talking about. I don't know what it is. Good to see you, Afton. Good to see you. The reddish brown stain. Yeah, I I didn't see it. I was looking this direction. I ain't gonna lie, I felt kind of weird being out there recording with my phone. I was doing my best JLR impersonation, and was looking for skid marks and tire marks on the ground, see if anybody took off at a high rate of speed, and I completely didn't see that. The reddish brown stain on the ground. She was a student. At a college here in San Antonio. KT asks, do we know if she was a student or had any kind of job? She was a student. Extreme Blonde says, having seen the area yourself, what are your initial thoughts about what could have possibly happened given the limited info we currently have? Given the info that we currently have, I suspect that she entered a vehicle there. On her own or not, I don't know. Reason behind all that is, one, I don't think she walked off and got lost. This is a neighborhood, and I don't think she wandered off and got lost. Two, the fact that there's so many cameras there, none of them capture her walking away, kind of tell me that maybe perhaps she did get in a car. Now, yes, I would assume that they would get the camera, a footage of the car taking off as well. However, kind of like this other video, and I'm going to show the video again, the other one that we played, timing and when, and, a car just passing by. I don't know. Law enforcement not coming out saying that they're looking for a specific vehicle either at this point kind of leads me to believe that maybe they don't have a vehicle there, man. It's kind of deducing to possible neighbor. No, I don't, because if it was a neighbor, it'd have to be like extremely close. Because like I said, there's a motion camera about 3 houses down from here, and there's another one down the street that direction. My assumption is that we're probably going to find out a lot more information when more of that footage is available. I think there's probably some footage that is not available at this point. But I don't think this is going to be something that turns cold. I think that's probably a good thing to say. How's it going? Good to see you. If she was walking in the street, cars may have blocked any motion from her. That's possible too, if she was walking in the street. It's possible. But there's a lot of cameras, and I don't understand why she would walk in the street. There's a sidewalk on both sides. And to walk in the street is kind of narrow, especially with the cars parked. Me walking the streets, I walked the street as well. I went from one sidewalk to the next, and because of the cars that are parked there, it makes that street narrow. So it'd be kind of dangerous to walk in the middle of the street when there's sidewalks on either end. But I do get what you're saying. Do they live in a cul-de-sac? It's not really a cul-de-sac. There's a little area here, but I guess you can say it's a cul-de-sac. Yeah. I saw a report that they're looking in Mexico, boyfriend meetup or plan. Yeah, we were talking about that they are looking at Mexico. This is true. Boyfriend is not, I don't know if there's a different boyfriend. We heard an interview from a person who claimed he was her boyfriend. I went through her Facebook and I saw a picture of them together, but I think it was back in either March or May of 2024. So it's been some time since there was a photo of them together. So him saying was maybe because they are no longer together, and she, could be interested or talking to other men. And so don't know if there's another person that's in the picture, but interesting enough, the mom, Camila's mom, called Nathan, the boyfriend or the ex-boyfriend, to ask if he had seen anything. So kind of leads us to believe that they were still on talking terms. They are Facebook friends, Camila and Nathan, and they are friends. And mom did call and say he was a boyfriend, but looking in Mexico, yeah, they are. Why? Don't know. Any RSOs? Probably. There's probably there's quite a few in San Antonio. Did she have a panic button on her key fob? That's a good question. I would assume that there is one. And so her not pushing it, if she was like attacked or something, kind of another indication somebody maybe she knew she got into the vehicle with. Has law enforcement towed her car? They have not. It was there today. That's today. I took this footage just before it went live, probably about 5 o'clock. I was out there. Somebody must have been close by if she got into another vehicle. Yeah, I agree. Will they try to get a warrant for her phone to try to unlock it? I would assume so. I would assume that they would. The FBI is involved, and that's kind of their specialty, right? Their specialty is going to be, getting the camera work. Their specialty is going to be getting geolocations of all the phones in the area. Like I mentioned before, this area is much different than some of the cases that we've talked about, like, for instance, Jack and Lily in Nova Scotia, Canada, or Brian Koberger out in Moscow, Idaho, in the Pullman, Washington area, where you have some pretty rural areas. This isn't like that. This is San Antonio, Texas, one of the large city. And this area here, there are multiple phone towers. And so getting a geolocation and being accurate with those, with triangulation is going to be huge. They're going to be able to do that they're going to be able to get the advanced call timing records from all the phones that connected to the towers in the area. And they're going to be able to determine where they were down to a very accurate, much more accurately than they were in the cases I mentioned before, because in those cases you had a scenario where you had 1 or 2 towers in the area. And that is not the case here. That is not the case. And so triangulation should be something that the FBI should be able to figure something out. If somebody was in the area, you also got to remember this was December 24th at 7 a.m. So, a lot of people are asleep. A lot of people are visiting there. There's not a lot of traffic. There's not a lot of people at work and stuff like that. So, if somebody was in the area that don't belong in the area, they may stick out. Did she leave the home from the back of the house? No, it appeared that she went from the front, that she was at her car and then disappeared from her car. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're going to look at her phone, PC, everything. Yep. Could this be a voluntary disappearance? I mean, she did have plans that she made with her friends to go dress shopping and things like that. So I doubt it, but maybe. Is that a reddish brown stain this is a reddish brown stain at the end of the driveway. Yes. And that was there today. Don't know what it is. Could be transmission fluid, could be something more. But that is a reddish brown stain. Oh, I'm blocking it. There it is. That is a reddish brown stain. Don't know what it is. I'm going to run back out there probably tomorrow and see if I can get a closer look at that. I would assume law enforcement are aware of this stain. It's a pretty big assumption. I will say this, though. When I went out there a couple of days ago, this entire area was covered with leaves. A lot more than this. A lot more leaves than this. Have the police given a press conference? No. Not yet, not to my knowledge. Will law enforcement have a press conference soon? I hope so. I hope so. I'm going to keep looking out on that. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Like, comment, and subscribe, guys. And share this, so we can get the content out. I live in this area, so I'm going to be back and forth. And I've actually talked to the mom briefly, very, 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 very briefly. I reached out to her, kind of extended my, my condolences and my thoughts and my prayers. I don't want to say condolences because we don't know anything like that, but my thoughts and prayers. And she had responded, kind of telling me about some of the searches that they were doing. And so that was the extent of our conversation. It wasn't very long. It was one voice recording back to me. And so like, comment, share, please. It'd be great. So that way we can get as much information out there. But yeah, this area, when I was out there, I want to say 2 days ago. I want to say it was 2 days ago. This entire area. I mean, you see how it is right here with the leaves? It was like that in the street, all the way up to about right here. So this area here would have been heavily, heavily under the trees, if I remember correctly. That's why when I was walking up, I was like, it's you see how it is right here? It was like that all right here. This part has been, I don't know if it's been cleaned up where all the vehicles in the area kind of have touched base on it, but there was more leaves here. And so maybe this was under the leaves. But yeah, I don't know what that reddish brown stain is in the roadway. I don't know. I'll go back out there tomorrow. Oh, look, a squirrel says the male interest using the past tense is a big red flag. They know the person is gone or is only when they refer to as was is not just relationship. It is a red flag. I get it. But when I looked at their photos, I hadn't seen a photo of them together, for some time. So I don't know if the past tense presence of that is because at the time of her disappearance, he was no longer her boyfriend, that they had broken up some time ago. And so I think maybe there's that possibility. So I don't want to jump to a conclusion that he's using, that term in past tense because he no longer, because it's a notion that she's no longer with us, right? It could be because they had broken it off. And so I personally don't want to jump to a conclusion yet. If more information does come out, then we'll definitely go and look at that. I'm a little bit behind on this case. Mom reported her missing. Mom felt her get up, and she got up a little bit later on, called her daughter to see where she was. Phone was off. She ended up finding the phone in the bed. Waited a while, then went to go look for it. Couldn't find her. Called 911 because it had been an odd amount of time that she'd been gone. And so mom had called. Mom put phone on the charger as well. And so that's where we're at on that one. What happened to the Steeler? Gosh, I don't even know. Afton's correct. Typical letdown game. So are her car keys missing also, or did she have them? I believe her keys are missing. It was her keys, her ID, and her phone was left behind. So it was her keys and her ID that were taken with her. So this road does dead end, correct? It doesn't dead end. It's it goes in in a square. It's like a rectangular. Let me see if I still have the map up real quick. But it is a one-way in, one-way out. And I do have the map up. So I'm going to put in so this, as you can see, it's right here in this corner. So right here in this intersection is the only way in and out. Like, you have to go through this intersection to get in here and out here. If you cross this way or go straight to it, those are the only two ways to get into this area back here. Which again kind of leads us to believe that the person possibly is familiar with this area, familiar with her. I strongly doubt that this was a stranger abduction. I strongly, strongly doubt that. Did the family move the car? It does not appear that the vehicle has been moved. Hey, Miss Hall, how's it going? Good to see you. How's it going? How's it going? Yeah, but it does not appear that I agree with you. It does not appear that the vehicle has been moved at all. Do I think someone could have been in her car? Ooh, that's interesting. I mean, if they were, where do they go from there, right? You know, if they were hiding in her car, now where do you go from there? You got to, because the car's still there. So, kidnap, take her to his car where it may be parked down the road. I mean, it gets possible. I wonder if, I don't know. A cul-de-sac, yeah. Why are people saying her car was running? Her car wasn't running. The lights were on. But it's a Volvo. And I got a truck, and my truck, when I walk up to it, and this is a newer Volvo. I have a newer truck. So when I walk up to my truck, all the lights turn on. I don't have to hit a button. I don't have to do anything. It's just as soon as I get in within a certain proximity, I'm fairly positive the Volvos that are, these higher end type cars, with all the tech and features and stuff, it probably does the same thing. Either she got close to it and it lit up, or she unlocked it to go through her vehicle because she was apparently going through it. And when she unlocked it, it probably lit up for safety purposes. But I don't believe her vehicle was on. And, they'll find out, if her vehicle did turn on once they, she has the car keys, right? So maybe that's why they haven't been able to move it or tow it. I'm going to go by again tomorrow. I'm going to try to at least and get a better picture of that on the ground. And I'll see about the, the car's still there, obviously. I'm going to assume that it's eventually going to get picked up for processing. Your ability to still assume the best in people after all your experience is rather touching. Well, it's not so much I'm assuming the best. I try not to jump to a conclusion initially, because one thing that we don't want to do is create more victims out of this. You know what I'm saying? And I get it. There, people would look at certain things, ex-boyfriends, relationships, and certain things that a person may say, and not without having all the information. If we jump to a conclusion and start accusing people of something, then that's just creating more victims. They're already going through enough. If I see something that's there enough to accuse somebody of something, like Brian Koberger case, I wasn't quick to accuse him right away. He got arrested. I wanted to see the evidence, and once more the evidence came out, as soon as it cleared up that picture, no problem saying that I 100% believe he had committed that crime. Other cases as well. This one here, she just went missing. My assumption is that, given the area, if they have an idea of who a suspect, and I put that in quotations, could be, for instance, you have the ex-boyfriend. In order for him to have done something, there's certain things he has to do. He has to leave his house. He has to travel from wherever he was at to this location. Then he has to leave this location, travel back, and then he eventually has to get home. And all that stuff in San Antonio, with the cameras and everything else that you're going to have available to you, if they don't have it now, they're going to have it fairly soon. And he's going to get caught fairly quickly. it's not going to be very difficult to be able to prove or figure out if he did something. And so I choose to be patient and see what happens there. You know, what's the worth? What is it going to hurt to wait a couple of days to figure out if law enforcement is going to go and make a move like that? Because, you know, let's just say they investigate him and then, you know, they don't have to come out and say, hey, we cleared him. But, you know, if they investigate him, they don't find any evidence of anything. And we're here accusing him just because we don't know all the information. It'll ruin his life. And I don't want to do that at this point. You know, now something pops up, you know, law enforcement say, hey, his phone activity is kind of odd, or his vehicle was seen leaving the area or some of that nature. That's when we can start, you know, looking in that direction with that light in mind. But until then, I think it's probably best bet to remain patient, and let's see what the evidence, if any, does come out. You know, as many people have asked about a press conference, I don't think one has happened yet. Let's see if one does. I know that the FBI and multiple agencies are involved now, so I would assume that because of that, we're probably going to get some more information pretty soon. This case is picking up quite a bit of steam at this point, and so we'll see what that is. The car was across the street from hers. Could it have been where they're just parking at the right of to avoid the citation? I don't know, because it was parked facing one direction, then it was parked facing the other. For those that don't know, who are just joining, let me pull up this footage real quick. Let's pull up some footage. And this is some other footage from the camera itself. Okay, so let's back this up a little bit. So this is a camera here, and I know it says Thursday, 10:04 a.m. at the top, but that's when I'm assuming this information was downloaded and saved. Thursday would have been Christmas Day, so this was the day after the disappearance when this was taken by, my assumption is, the owner of the camera. And so you have seemingly a dark day, but a dark night. But look here, you have this vehicle that's parked across the street. And I can say that it's parked there, kind of blocking the driveway sort of this house there, because it's there in several different images. So this is a different image than the first one. You can kind of see I guess right here at the top right, the cloud change. So, oops, went too far. See, clouds are changed a little bit. So it's parked out there for a second. Clouds changed again. There's something reflecting here. You see that? Something's reflecting on the vehicle here. I think that may have been what set off the alarm. Now you have a light back here. So this car is parked out there for a minute. I mean, I couldn't tell you how long. But you have a vehicle in the distance. And then it's gone, that vehicle. You can see the light shine on the other vehicles there. So this vehicle's parked there for a second. And then now you have this light on, and now the vehicle's facing the opposite direction. We can tell that because the headlights are on now, and you can see the light beaming. And you can see, like, so right here, it looks almost flat. You can tell that the vehicle is shifted around. It's parked in the same spot, but it's just facing the other direction now. And here it's gone. So it's parked out there for a minute, right outside of Camila's house, facing two different directions at two different times of the night. Then it's completely gone. Again, I don't know what time of day or night this was. And there's Camila. Oh, so it's so that's Camila right there with the vehicle on. But not on, let me rephrase that. With the headlights and the tail lights illuminating. Don't know if the vehicle is on or not. Probably not. It's just probably illuminating because she's going through it. So I'm going to let it run. I'm going to press play. So these are the images that it took. And it's a loop. So I don't know. I mean, that car could have just been somebody that lives here at the house across the street. You know, could be absolutely nothing. Could be something. I don't know. Wouldn't the car's GPS show where she's been in the past few days? Yeah. And so would her phone too. So I'm hoping that they get that information and they get that rather quickly, especially the phone. Was her dome light on? I'm not sure. I couldn't tell from the images there. Is the stain in this footage you're showing now? Good question. Let me see. I can't tell, but there are like no leaves on the ground at all. And like I said, when I went out there was leaves everywhere. And even when I went out yesterday, there was some leaves there. It is difficult to tell if that stain is there. I wouldn't be comfortable saying one way or the other. Maybe that's not her at the car. Something may have happened in the home. Yeah, it's possible. You know, that could be somebody else at the car. Now, there is a doorbell camera at her house. My assumption why we're seeing the neighbor's camera and not the doorbell camera from her house is probably because of a subscription, situation. You know, maybe her mom, or the owners of the home. I don't know if it's the same person or not. If she lives with other people or who's the owner of the home or any of those things. But if the owner of the home doesn't have the subscription to the Ring, they may have to wait for warrants and stuff to get that back. And so that could take a couple of days, also the holidays and things. I don't know how that could affect certain things with the court, stuff like that. So my assumption is once they're able to get that, we're going to be able to find out for sure if that was her or not. She was very petite. So, I don't think somebody could pretend to be her like her mom. I think that would be noticeable. So we'll figure it out. I think we'll figure that out. What time was the sunrise? Sunrise is out here probably about 7, to be honest with you. A little bit after that. So this morning I wanted to see how dark it was, and it was pretty dark about 7:10 still. 7:05. Started lighting up about 7:15, 7, somewhere around there. Started lighting up. But yeah, it gets dark, or it stays dark till about that time out here. But you know what? What I'll do is I'll take a picture tomorrow morning also. At about 7 o'clock, figure out, more or less how dark it is at that time. A lot of questions, guys. A lot of questions. Not very many answers. But we're going to keep covering this. Like I said, I live super close to this, and I'm gonna keep covering this. I've gone out there and looked at a couple of different places. I haven't been part of the searches themselves, but mainly because of work and things like that. But I've gone out there. I've driven the area a few times and see what I can see. And I don't know. The wandering off is very small possibility in my mind. Stranger abduction is just as small. Accident. She walked off. Somebody she knows. She got into a car with somebody she knows. Is where I think is the higher possibility. Now, whether she got in that car, willingly or reluctantly is another question, right? But got into a vehicle of somebody she knows is kind of where my mind is at this point. Well, hit the like button, guys. This is going to do it for me tonight. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Please share the content so that way we can get this information out to as many people as possible. Comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys probably on Tuesday, a little bit late Tuesday night, unless something major breaks. I'll be on tomorrow night. If I do, it'll be late. But hit the like button, subscribe, follow, share, 5-star rating if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Until tomorrow or next time. Peace out, guys.